thing that's important is what I had to do to get to this point. So I talk a lot on the show about 90-90, the combat stretch, and working on my hip mobility, my ankle mobility, zone 1 test for my thoracic mobility, and then my forward head that I have. So this one move that I do now, because I've addressed all those things really well working on it, I kind of hit all of it at once. Now, the key though when I do this is the intent that I do it with. So I'm having to think about a lot of things. So it's a little bit advanced to do this, but this is how I prime now before I squat without having to do all the other things I used to have to do to get to this point. The first thing I'm thinking is most people's feet, they want to pronate, collapse in. So I'm trying to think of that little triangle, right? The 2 and the 1 where my feet are kind of balanced and flat. I'm not letting them cave in. So that's the first thing I'm thinking about. The next thing I'm thinking about after that is the knees pushing over. So I'm kind of pulling in against this. I'm driving the knees forward and I'm already lifting my toes up. And then the other thing I'm thinking about is my hips now. So then I'm going to push my knees out. So at the bottom, I'm pushing my knees out. I'm driving them forward, lifting my toes up. So now I'm starting to light this whole area. Now I'm going to work my way up. Now I'm thinking about my thoracic mobility. I'm going to grab this, and you can't see it, but I'm creating tension by squeezing my shoulder blades together. So I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together. I'm lifting my toes. I'm driving my knees over. I'm opening my hips. And then the last piece is I set my head back. So I pull my head back, trying to get it back as close as I can in a neutral spine. And then I'm going to sit in this position and just go through the whole thing over again. I'm thinking about my toes, lifting my toes up. I'm driving the knees forward. I'm opening the hips up. I'm pulling my shoulder blades back, keeping that tension of the shoulder blade squeeze, and I'm bringing the head back as much as I can. And I'm trying to intensify it as much as I possibly can in that position. And again, just keep working through those points. I'll do that for a good 15 to 20 seconds and do that 2 or 3 times before I get right into a squat. I feel great. This is already actively working for me, is in this 90-90 position. So, already an exercise for me, because naturally I want to fall over, is to sit upright, and you'll feel it in your obliques having to work. And then when you sit upright, you square up. One of the ways you square up is I'm going to look at my knee, my hip. I'm lining up here. Okay, I'm squared up there. My chest is up high. Now the first thing that naturally tends to happen right here, because we lack the rotation in the hip, is the knee wants to come up, so that pushing it down and sitting up tall and straight, that's already work. But while I'm doing that, what I'm actively thinking about is engaging the core and the obliques to hold me upright. I'm also thinking about pushing the knee down in the ground and sitting as tall and straight as I possibly can. Now once I've got tension in the knee here, I've got tension in my core and in my obliques to hold me in that position, then I'm going to chest up high, come just a little bit over, and then I'm going to feel that stretch back in the butt. Once I feel that stretch, I'm then going to intensify again, drive the knee even harder, and push into the ground. Hold for 5 seconds, come out of it, reset, go over again, feel that stretch, and think about all those positions again, because as soon as you get tired, you want to collapse. Keeping it all tense the entire time. Hold for 5 seconds, pushing, driving that knee down into the ground while I'm in that stretch position. 4, 3, 2, 1, reset. I'm gonna do that 5 times, and then I'll flip over to the opposite side, do the same thing 5 times. Once I got good enough at that to where I had some decent internal, external rotation, and more importantly, just a good, strong connection there, then I could get into a exercise like I just demoed with you, where I get down on the ground, and then I can intrinsically think about what I need to do. But I first had to start here and just focus on the hips, get good at that, before I could integrate it with 4 or 5 other primers at once. Same thing goes for the combat stretch. When you don't have good knee travel, the muscles here are not firing properly and not allowing you to push over. So these are the ones I'm really trying to focus on and intensify. So as I push the knee forward, I feel like, okay, that's my in range of motion. Now from there, I'm gonna lift my toes up, and that just kind of intensifies that. That gets me mentally connected to what I'm trying to light up. Same thing like the 90-90, I'm holding that for 5 seconds. I'm pushing the knee as far forward as I can without my heel coming off the ground. I'm lifting my toes up like crazy. That's lighting that shit on fire. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. After 5 seconds, I come out of it, reset, do that again 5 times. And I repeat that on both sides. And I spent a lot of time doing the combat stretch and doing the 90-90 to really work on that connection of understanding of what I'm trying to get connected to. This is arguably one of the most important stretches or primers that I teach somebody to do before we get into any squatting, deadlifting, overhead pressing, any movements. I have such poor thoracic mobility that already tucking my chin, keeping my butt against the wall, I can already feel my mid-back starting to work. Once I ask myself to bring my elbows up by my side, keep the chin tucked in this position, and then try and get my wrist against the wall, and then also try and flatten the back. So what I'm doing, I'm doing a pelvic tilt, so I'm tucking my tailbone. Same concept again, just like when we're doing the 90-90, it's about the intent that you're doing it. It's not just getting up there and doing the exercise, it's trying to intensify it and get as connected as you can, so I'm intensifying it. And by intensifying, that's me pushing my back flat, driving my wrist back, keeping my chin tucked, and driving as hard as I can to get as connected as I possibly can to it. So the intent that you do the movement is as important as the movement itself, otherwise you're not doing anything good. Same thing again, I'm gonna do that 5 times. What's great about that one is we're addressing the thoracic mobility, and we're also addressing the forward head in one little primer.
How quick do you lose it if you don't do it?
Oh, really quick. That's a really good point. And the first really good example of how fast you lose this was when I tore my Achilles 3 years ago. I didn't exercise for like 3 months, and this was the first time that I'd been injured and down and not exercising since Mind Pump had started. And the biggest change in my life since Mind Pump has started is the type of trainer that I am. I'm a virtual trainer who sits on his ass and talks on a mic or texts on his phone all day long. So I was never this guy as a personal trainer. As a personal trainer in a studio or a gym, I'm constantly moving around, exercising with my clients or picking weights up. And so I never did this. So during the time, the little 3-month time that I was out and I was doing, this is what this got so bad. I was never this bad. But literally just that time of not addressing this and not exercising and then being in a rounded position, being on my phone, my body was already starting to shape and form like that. And that's why I'm so passionate about this conversation, because I've felt it in myself in such a short amount of time, how drastic of a difference it can make and how fast you can lose it if you're not paying attention and addressing it. So yeah, you lose it really quick, and this has now become just a part of my lifestyle. And this is how I coach and teach to clients is, it doesn't need to be this hour-long routine that I do. Although I did that for a while. I spent hour sessions a lot, just mobility till I got really good. Once I did, now you'll catch me in between podcasts or in between working with the staff. I'll get down and do these little drills just for a couple minutes at a time. And the frequency of that is as valuable, if not more valuable, than like one hard hour session.